Alrighty. Hey everyone, welcome to Coffee with Impetus. We are back again on our third episode today. We have Dahl Valve Man. For those of you who don't know, Dahl is a valve company. That's about all I know, so we're just going to hand it over to Thomas over here at Dahl Valves.
So my dad, when they first got here, my dad worked for the Ministry of Transportation, which in the U.S. would be the same as the Department of Highways. He worked as a ditch digger, and then he did some odd jobs, like selling encyclopedias door to door. And in 1954, he got a job as a general laborer with Dahl. And over the years, he worked his way up to office manager. There's a shot of him in action in the 50s. And in 1960, the last active Dahl family member in the business, drowned in a boating accident in the Mediterranean. So the company's at this point, Dahl of Denmark is 93 years old, and the rest of the family decided they're gonna cash out. And my dad ended up deciding he would buy the Dahl Corporation of Canada, and he at that time he made three payments of $5,000.
Wow.
Which is $120,000 today. But bear in mind, they didn't own a building. They had no land, no building, and all their sales, it was losing money. So all their inventory was priced at a loss.
Wow.
But he looked at it. He did have a vision. Clearly, because it worked out. And he it became Dahl Brothers Canada Limited with him. And then the first thing he did was he set about making three valves, and he worked with a company in Italy called Cazzaniga, and Luigi Cazzaniga, and he made copper to copper.
Luigi, right? Typical name.
Cazzaniga, man, absolutely. And and for years, I was born in '63, so I wasn't really around for that.
I'm like 100 years afterwards that, 40 years afterwards that even.
And you will. That's the one thing you won't stop is the clock.
Yeah.
So they did like a hose bib or a sediment faucet, a copper to copper stop, and a female to female stop were the first three valves. And once they proved out the market, they bought equipment and started machining in Canada. So here's actually a shot of the first building, a grainy shot of the first building that was in the west end of Toronto. And they were actually stamping the strapping there. So there's an old shot of the old boys, black and white. You can see that's and leaning against the wall or the coils of strapping. And they used to roll it off the truck. And I can tell you that today the coils we get cannot be rolled by any man. maybe Brian Shaw of the Strong Man.
All these photos reminds me of like going to Disney World, looking at Walt Disney and like when he started his career.
I'm telling you, and we've got. I spared you the stuff that I've got that I've been going through, and I'm going to start scanning. It goes way back, even to the folks in Denmark. So in 1967, so that was sort of how the company started becoming a manufacturer. In 1967, they broke ground. So there's the building. That's where we are today, complete with a shot of my dad's 65 Pontiac station wagon. How exciting is that for all the gearheads that might be out there? And there it is today if you drive by our place in Mississauga.
Wow.
That's our building where we've got the Canadian flag, both on the sign in front of the building, and Canadian-made plumbing products for over 60 years.
I don't know about the viewers, but I get goosebumps listening to these stories. I love it because it's like starting a company from ground up. Even when he buys that company and he's able to grow it and get that first shop and then grow into something bigger and to what it is today. That's amazing.
I watched him go. That building has had two additions. I watched him go through recessions. I watched him go through a quad bypass. I watched him beat cancer twice. So there was a lot of stuff there where he struggled. He even was in a business deal he wasn't sure if it would go his way when my mother was pregnant with me, and that's why my middle name is Dahl. They gave me he said to my mom, if we still have the company when the baby's born, we're going to name it Dahl.
Thomas Dahl. Was it Husbye or Husbye?
Husby.
Husbye.
Husby. Yeah. Which is kind of cool. And so, when I went and started the company, when my dad was there, right, and I signed something T. Husby. Well, my dad's name was Trigby Husby. So I signed something, T. Husby. And it wasn't long before I was like, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? There's one T. Husby in this building, and it ain't you, pal. Now, T. Husby.
So do all your kids have Dahl in their middle name as well?
No, no.
You should keep
Now,
the tradition.
yeah, and you know what? I don't have kids, unfortunately. I got I got two dogs.
Oh, hey, they're just as close. Let me tell you, I got a
Well,
dog too.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, kids didn't work out for us. We went down that road, but I try to be a good uncle.
That's okay. They both work the same, right? I try to be a good uncle too, but sometimes I end up spoiling him.
Well, uncles are there to feed them, to give them noisy toys and feed them sugar, right? And then go home.
When you were born, how old were you when you were helping your dad's business?
I'd say the first summer job when I worked there, I think I was 13, and I was a floater and I was doing light packaging. I saved up that summer. I bought an electric trolling motor, a marine battery, and a trickle charger. And I had that Canadian Tire catalog open all summer to the page in my bedroom. Boom, sitting right there. So every time I got up in the morning and went to work, he said, I'm going to have that. He didn't pay me much.
He paid you an experience in which you turned it into something else afterwards.
Well, yeah, you're right. When you're in a family business, and that's what he said to me once. He said, "You got to remember, you go work for. You're going to have your challenges here, but if you go work somewhere else, you won't get to hang out with the owner and go through the confidential stuff that about the business that you will with me as your father." And so, and he said, understandably so. And he said, "So don't blow it with me."
It's true, and I think back in the day was like that a lot. Nowadays, like even when I run a business, I actually tend to share as much as I can with my guys, just so that they know, the risk of having a business, everything else that goes on within the business, the numbers and everything, so that if we were to grow together, they would see the growth and not just the fact that every penny they make for me goes back into my pocket, right? I think the views have changed quite a bit, but it's also interesting of what it was back then of how that information is actually really sacred.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%.
So
It's good to be transparent. Uh huh.
so tell us a little bit about your valves. I know that you said all of them made in Canada right now, or are some in China? Like I personally don't know. I'm just curious. I actually used to sell valves. I don't think I ever
Oh,
told
cool.
you that. I used to work at a company called KVC Industries. So then we were selling valves from China brought to Canada, and then we get the
Uh huh.
CRNs and all those other numbers to distribute it across and sell it to the wholesalers. But as for Dow, is everything strictly made in Canada? Or?
Yep. Yeah, we buy our bar stock in the U.S. because there are no brass mills in Canada. There haven't been since the 70s. Um, but our castings, we actually buy our castings in Ontario. And so we've got screw machines, we've got CNCs, we've got manual lathes, we've got transfer dials, we've got an automated assembly line where that actually it feeds in all the parts and a finished valve comes out the end. We've got a tool room with tool makers and millwrights. Yeah,
Wow, the whole
we
nine yards.
yeah, you'll see flatbeds going around the back of our building and be unloading 1,000-pound bundles of brass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so for all you guys that don't know, if you want to support Canadian business, Dow valves are the way to go. Definitely, and I think for us, like we've changed a lot to Dow whenever we can. The price is more, but we have been trying to get all our sales guys to actually be able to sell it a lot more because we know that the quality stands behind it, and we can support a Canadian business. But something for myself, actually, I haven't put in the questions for you. I know you've been getting ready for the questions. But when I was working on the valve industry, I knew that they had this big thing about no lead. Did that affect Dal at all?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a big deal. It started in California, became effective in California in 2010.
It was something to do
Uh,
with watts, right? Or
it,
who was the company? Was it M.A. Stewart or one of the companies that decided to like sign a bill to make it and say that they didn't want lead in the ball valves anymore, or it was only a certain percentage for wetted surfaces.
you know what? I don't know. I just know that Assembly Bill 1953 was passed into law in California in September of 2008,
Uh,
and then that was it. That was the starting bill, because in California, it meant that nothing could be installed as of January 1st, 2010.
yeah,
Uh, in Canada in 2014, we were able to sell through existing inventories, so it was a bit different. But yeah, so it was California and Vermont in 2010. Then I think a couple other states, I think like Maryland, maybe someone else in the meantime. But then 2014, the rest of the U.S. went and Canada went, and it's a big deal because the material is so much harder because lead gives it ductility, right? It
yeah,
softens it. It
makes it
built-in
more
lubricant.
malleable, right?
You got it. You got it. So when you go from 3% nominal lead content to 0.25%, now you got 1/12 of the lead. It was more like machining stainless steel, and it was a big deal. And the material was a lot more expensive. The price of the valves on average went up about 25%.
Yeah, like I could even see that when we were buying like when we were buying brass unions, I was like, holy crap! From like a $4 to $6 union, it became 20 something dollars even for us. So that was a huge push.
Yeah, and I heard that the waterworks stuff went up more like 40%, but we're not into waterworks. But in chatting with her, it was nuts. I mean, that's a lot of money.
That's crazy. That was definitely a crazy time. But yeah, that question was for me. I just became really interested, and I kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit there. Um, so, for those who don't really know a lot about Dahl, I know that you guys do customization for valves. Tell me a little bit more about how you do these customizations and um, how often do people actually use this service?
Okay, well, the mini ball valve itself is where we do that. We have that it's a modular platform. So, give you an example. So here's a valve. Okay, here's our female hose by hose. There's a straight pattern valve. Okay, so here's the body. Okay, now here's a T. It's made. Let's do a better job holding that. That is exactly the same. They're made using the same body. So my point is that the valve body that we start out with is basically a T with three identical ports, and
Mm,
you can use that now. We can either put the handle here, or if we wanted to, we could put the handle here and the outlet here and make it an angle pattern valve. And then you have a bunch of pipe connections. So I brought this bad boy. I don't know if you can see it, if I have too much of a reflection, but just as a visual, all those different connections are how you can mix and match. Now, there's uh, there's an easier way to do it than using that, because on our website, da, 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 there you can kind of see that, and that's just you go to dahlvalve.com and you've got the build your own valve module. You can go in there and you can click, and as you walk through, you can build a valve. One of the things early on that it asks is, do you want standard bore or large bore? Just generally go with standard bore. Large bore is for a small number of inline valves, but for the most part, I'm looking at the custom stuff.
yeah.
Uh, you're going to be going with the standard bore. So you go through all that, and then at the end, it gives you what the part number would be, and it even sets you up if you want to email our office and ask about availability of the valve, or if you can't find something, and there's always someone there.
So when somebody does order that valve or they build a valve there, how does that work from my hands? I mean, from your hands to my hands, because I know you guys don't sell direct, right? So do we process it through Dow and then Dow reaches out to kind of the wholesalers that we're looking for to make it happen, or how does that work?
Actually, typically, I think what happens is it could go either direction, but usually, uh, if someone in the trades is looking it up, they're going to go to the wholesaler that they know, where they want to buy it, and ask for them to get it quoted. I mean,
Uh,
I think that's a lot of the time what happens. You could ask us to call your wholesaler, but ultimately you call your wholesaler, but then your wholesaler is going to call you anyway, right?
Yeah,
just to confirm everything and firm
that's
it up.
definitely true. Um,
Yeah.
s- do
But so,
who do
sorry, go
you
ahead.
guys currently sell to for all your valves? Is it only like Emco, BA Robinson, I assume, Andrew Sherris? Is there, are you
Pretty much
limited for any accesses, or do all of them have access to your valves?
every wholesaler, any wholesaler in North America could buy our stuff. We're in pretty much every wholesaler in Canada. We're in fewer wholesalers in the U.S., but we're in a lot now. We started off in the U.S. we hired agencies and started selling to wholesale in the U.S. only in 2001. We've been selling to OEMs in the U.S. for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's a and we were the first quarter turn shut off in an outlet box in the U.S. in North America actually.
That's good to know. I do know you work a lot of OEMs because when I opened those boxes for Viga, I found out that they were Dahl valves. So that
Yeah,
that was pretty interesting on my end, and I was really happy because that was gonna go into my house anyway. Um,
we
but
go way back. Yeah, Viga, we got a tight relationship. That was back in the days when Viga was a small office, Stadler Viga in Bedford, Massachusetts, and my dad and Joe Friedrich were sending back handwritten faxes and sketches. And then I started dealing with a gentleman named Andy Fiefhaus, who's in Viga in Germany now. And then we were doing it, and then it grew from there. But I remember we were going back and forth, and we were sending like 6 samples overnight to Bedford so they could inspect them. And who knew? And now they're an amazing company to deal with. We very much enjoy working with them.
I can see that they're great with us as well. Everything we've done with them so far has been top notch and all quality on our end. Um, so aside from customization from your valves, how
Mm-hmm.
else is Dell different from other companies?
Well, I guess if we're probably a lot smaller of a company than a lot of people think. We've been around for a long time. Uh, Another thing is that my sister and I, both of us are on the customer service and sales email groups. So we see everything that comes in. Now, that's not because we're checking up on people, but it's because we've been around for a long time and we've gotten used to filtering out the stuff that we don't need to see.
Yeah.
But, if we see something that's really unusual, I'll always click on it. We'll get emails from wholesalers say, "Can you please identify this valve?" And I'm thinking, "Yeah, I better jump in because I can save them a lot of grief if it's something really strange." Um, and so that's kind of neat. I don't know how many. I mean, I'm not sure how many companies have the owners, watching customer service and sales emails. I think they're out there, but we're a lot smaller than a lot of our competition.
They're out
Um,
there. I definitely do the same anyways. All the emails comes to me as well. I constantly try to push them away now. But from time to time, it's really nice to kind of see what's still happening, right, and how things are dealt with, just to make sure everybody's on top of things, and just so that you do the extra double check for some of your guys. It isn't because you don't trust them, but it's also because you want to do your due diligence. I think as a team effort.
Absolutely, and you never want them to feel like they're just alone, like that. Yeah, but there is the balance, right? Yeah, you
Yeah,
couldn't.
I do. I think that's really important because a lot of people think, oh, you hire somebody just so they look after something, so you don't have to look after it anymore. But they don't understand the fact that if you do that, then that person just feels like he's just there to do a job. And half the time when they're working, I don't want them to feel like they're just here to do a job, but I want them to enjoy the work process and be there for them every step of the way. And I think that's why if you guys are in the sales part of it as well, it's great for your guys because they can see that you're actually working as well, and they're not doing everything on their end.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the old saying. We always want to be teaching people how to fish instead of giving them fish.
Yeah, it's always that saying. Um, let's see. So let's talk about some pros and cons. Every company, I ask this for everybody on Coffee with Impetus. Um, I like every company that comes onto here because I specifically use these products, and I'm always curious about what companies think about themselves because there's a lot of pros that you can always say, but what are some cons that you can give us that saying that Val needs to kind of work on to get better or get to the next level coming up?
I think for us is So a lot of the time it's just sticking to your knitting and remembering who you are. So, big challenges for us is that we're a small company competing with larger companies. They have economies of scale and they can beat us in the pricing game. And that includes the lower costs that come with using offshore labor in emerging economies. And there's nothing wrong with that, and because it is what it is. There's a place for everyone in the market, and that's where we have to remember who we are. That we're a small company. Our focus is on the service and repair. We can't compromise on our designs and the quality that goes into our product and what we do. So, it's a lot more expensive to run a factory in Ontario, Canada, than it is to run a factory in many other parts of the world. But so be it. It's where we've chosen to be. And, our factory is air conditioned, has been since 1967. We're proud of that. Our employees have benefits, they've got company pensions, and we've got the small company sort of agility for service. And again, there's a lot of great companies in the industry, and there's a place for everyone in the industry. So, it's not as much of an us versus them thing as
it's about you keeping your core values of what Dahl is really about.
You got it. Well, I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly it.
I like that a lot. Like that's exactly how we run Impetus as well, right? I think from all the posts that you've seen, like I try to give out that quality no matter what. And I know sometimes the cost is all the way up there, but that's the only quality that I know how to do. I can't really go back and give you something that the other guy can do just because he can do it at a lesser price. It can become a con, at many times where people kind of say, oh, you're too expensive, but keeping the core values is just as important. And there's always going to be those customers that look for quality. And we like to be those kind of guys as customers to you, and we want those customers for us as well.
I 100% agree. That's just, and again, stick to your values and stay focused, and there's always going to be someone who values someone like you.
Yep. So moving on to something that I really want to ask myself that I've always been wondering, because I've heard about this before, is the warranty of your valves. From what I know is you guys boast, or not boast, but you guys talk about your warranty to be lifetime, correct?
Yeah.
Or that's what I've heard so far. So now that you say yes, my question is, how does this lifetime warranty work? So let's say I go to a job and I see a Dahl valve on a toilet, and that thing is leaking, and I'm about to take it out. So what does the warranty process what is the warranty process for that, and what is the warranty for that?
Okay, the warranty is for the lifetime of the installation. It's transferable, because when I go back real quick. In 2008, we introduced a 25-year warranty, and in 2013, we thought we had more conversation. And I said, well, why don't we just go to a lifetime warranty? Because 25, and we look at our field service, and so we were talking to with a bunch of our reps on the phone, and one of them said, "Oh, careful, that sounds like one of those BS warranties." So what do you mean? So, well, as soon as the original owner sells the property, the warranty is void. So that was kind of a neat thing we learned. And when you look at warranties, you see fine print. So if you're not the original owner, if you don't have the original receipt, you don't have the original packaging. Okay, we don't need a receipt, and we don't care if the building's been sold 5 times, because the product is warranted to be free of defects in workmanship and materials at the time of original manufacture. So if we screwed up the machining, or there was a flaw in the batch of material that led to a failure, and we can run forensics that will reveal that many, many years later, then it's on us. It might be on our material supplier, but the bottom line is this is where we're going to run with it. But it's also important to know that there are normal wear and tear parts. The seals and the O-rings in 35 years might wear out. But that's not unlike brake pads and windshield wiper blades on your vehicle. There are things that do wear, and you would expect them to wear. You don't expect a valve to crack.
Yeah.
Right. So those are the kind of things that
so work. Even though you have like a normal wear and tear, though, do you still count that under your warranty, or not?
We wouldn't, not if it, but you're going to be going many, many years into the
Okay.
future.
Well, it's kind of hard because even if I did 35, if there's gonna be a dick that says they want you to warranty a 35-year-old valve, like, come on. I personally would be embarrassed to kind of ask that question.
Well, I won't comment on the use of adjective.
But how does that warranty work? So let's say it's 5 years, right? And I got a leak on my valve. Do
Yep.
I do so? Then I call Dahl, or let's talk to Dahl about it. Was there the
Yep.
thing about the warranty? Because I heard from warranty myself that Dahl would give $50 for the replacement of it, and with the
We,
valve.
if your claim's approved, we'll pay up to $50 towards your labor cost to replace a valve. You got it. Absolutely. And you just either email, you can contact your wholesaler, you can contact us, you can email us directly. You can even phone us. That's another thing. We actually have humans that answer the phone. You'll get the voicemail greeting. Thank you for calling Dahl Valve Limited. For customer service, press 1, and then that goes and rings to someone's phone. And that's we're proud of that.
That's
To
awesome.
keep. Yeah, you don't need to hear our advertising. We'll put that up in posters. If you're phoning us, you're calling to talk to somebody, not to a computer.
That's really good to know. So the other thing I want to know on top of that actually is for that warranty, I'm just gonna keep pegging you on this, not because I hate you or anything. It's just I really want to explain to my customers and a
Yeah.
lot of people on the viewership on how it really works, because I really think that's a game changing thing for valves. Especially a lot of valve companies always say, oh, we need you to print this whole form and then write everything down about all that crap. But I really want to get down to it when you talk about lifetime warranty, because you're saying that because I'm not going to be the guy giving you a 35-year-old valve and wanting you to warranty it. But where does that line really stop of, let's just say, where you're not really going to warranty it, and saying that it's actual wear and tear? Would you say that's like a 25-year, or like, you know?
That's going to vary depending on the use and the condition. So, and not to sound like a politician, but so in the process, when someone reaches out to us, we have a claims manager who will then reach out to you, usually within 24 hours, the same or next day. He's gonna contact you, and we want to get the valve back because we can't do it sight unseen. And we bring it back, and our engineering department will do a forensic analysis on it to understand what the failure mode was, and that's, you just take it case by case. And we check in, and I mean, Jeff's our man. Which is, here's a fun story. Jeff Smalden is our claims manager. His grandfather worked at Dahl with my father. Not only that, but his grandfather, Ken Smalden, was one of the Allied troops who went ashore on the beaches of Normandy. There's some history for you. Yeah. But Jeff's a stand-up guy, real good guy. Yeah, bottom line is, every single one, we'll bring it in and we will examine it. And we have board meetings every month. And one of the things is the quality assurance reports to us any warranty claims, and they give us updates on failure modes. So I mean, I guess the way we look at it is, it doesn't matter how many cases of valves we sell. Every single valve, it could be someone gets just one of our valves. Okay, so I don't care how many shoes a shoe company sells. I buy the one pair of shoes. If something goes wrong with them, I don't want some bureaucrat blowing smoke at me about percentages and averages and blah blah blah, right?
You want them to actually just look into the damn shoe and see if it actually
Yeah,
is still warranty.
yeah. Don't direct me to your website and tell me to go to the FAQ section. Pick up the phone. So
That makes sense. I'm glad I know that. Cause a lot, actually, when I posted that story like a week ago, a lot of people were actually asking about it. So that's why I really want to get down to it, because sometimes when you have a manufacturer sales rep in between, they don't actually explain the whole process for you, other than the fact that, oh, it's a lifetime warranty. But now that I know, I can.
I'll show you. Oh, or is it one thing? If you have, I don't know. Well, it's on the website, and it is also in the front of our catalog. If I can pull it up here. Well, I won't bore you with it, but there's our catalog. In the U.S., this catalog has an American flag down here, but it's the detail is there. But again, if there's a question about it, get a hold of us. Send us an email or phone us.
Will
You
do.
know, Yeah, that's the we. You know what? We want to be easy to deal with. Like when you see the name Dahl, we just want our customers to think, oh, thank God it's them. That's going to be easy.
Yeah, yeah. There's
Right?
there's definitely some companies like that out there that I really like. Where I hear that company name, and I'm just like, okay, these are great people to deal with, and they'll definitely make it right if anything were to happen, and keep that on my books for now, from now on. I mean, so we are kind of going a bit deeper from time just because we had some troubles, but we'll keep going on a little bit about the next question I had for you. Um, what are some things that Dow's going to come up with in the next couple of years, or let's just say 5 years? Because technology is obviously changing, valves are changing, everything else is changing. What's coming new to the table for Dow in the next little bit that you can
It's
share?
okay. So it I know, and it's tough to say because I'm thinking, man, it was it Brian from Ohio Power Tools on Bold City last night?
Yeah,
Is that his
yeah.
name? Okay. And wasn't he saying, well, I can't really, and even the guy from Rigid, well, I can't really, or they'll kill me. Uh, so that's where I think, oh no, we all sound like we're taking the fifth, but like this year we're going to be promoting some stuff you know about our finishing valves.
Yep.
I don't know if everyone knows about them or our skirted toilet kits. I don't know if everyone's seen those.
No, no, I
It,
haven't yet.
uh, Skirted toilet kit is like a dog leg. It comes out. So if you're doing a reno and you want to put a skirted toilet in, well, the stub out's too close to the center line, right? Now you got to cut open, you got to repipe. Okay, but this kit is essentially it's an elbow and an angle pattern retrofit valve that pops on, so it does a dog leg out to the side, and you can put in a skirted toilet without having to change the rough end. Uh,
Ah, okay.
so, do I have a picture? Well, let's see. I leaned out of the shot. Let's see if I can pull something up fast. Uh, but anyway, yeah. So we'll be promoting that in the U.S. We got a product called Universal T, and that's got swivel connections that works with 5/8 supply stops. So uh, plumbers can assemble their own dual shutoff valves, which is a really funky product. It's a very cool product. Uh, Dual shutoffs don't sell at all in Canada. There you go. I don't know if you can. This is going to be a tough shot. Can you see those drawings at all of those products? See,
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah. I see them. They're a little bit angled out.
those are the skirted toilet kits. So you know what? I'll post this stuff on Instagram too, so you guys will see it. And then looking at new technologies that are out there. You look at for example, press. We don't have much in the way of press, but we will be entering that game down the road. The whole COVID thing has created some challenges for everybody,
Yeah.
but no, we're the human race shall press on as it always does.
Well, I mean, you guys got a great foundation for your business, so I doubt that a little hit like that will take you guys down. I mean, it's been almost what 70 years, about
Yeah,
or 90
being
something years, you say?
68 years.
Yeah, about
And
68 years. I don't think you guys would be taken down by something so light.
well, you know what? We've got a really good bunch of folks at the company. I mean, ultimately, that's it. Um, it's I enjoy working there. I enjoy the people I work with there, and that keeps us strong. And there's something my father always said though. He said, a company must renew itself by 10% every year, or it'll be done in 5 years.
Yeah.
So, so there's little things we're doing all the time. You may not see it out on the street, but you're looking at just the way you do things, even the kind of equipment we have, even if it's the same equipment, if we're machining things with different techniques and constantly learning.
That's good to know. So I personally have one more question for the end of the day, and it's gonna be about Instagram. I want to share a picture over here that was your first post ever when you logged onto Instagram. What were you thinking when you were trying to put this picture in, and yeah, what were you trying to say on this post?
Uh, the strapping.
Yeah, the strapping, the all around strapping.
Yeah. Well, I guess the thing is, and I was saying it's made here and made by Canadians who use Canadian plumbers. I guess that's I think sometimes I just like to remind people, like the people that work in our factory, if the plumbing goes, has a problem, they call a Canadian plumber. The people who work in the American brass mills, if that sell us our brass, they hire American plumbers. Uh, they also shop in the local grocery stores. They shop in the local economy. There is a global economy. I think it's crazy to try and say, there'll never be anything global. But it's a nice reminder that, hey, folks, we're here. We've been sort of sitting here beside the highway all these years, and you're kind of used to us. And
Yeah.
well, but this is what
made in
do.
Canada, really.
Yeah, exactly. And that was one of the guys actually. I think that was Stefan. Stefan Stonley. He's our agent in Quebec, and his father worked for Dahl back in the day. So there's a long history there. His father used to once came to a sales meeting at Dahl and dropped off Stefan at our house to play with me in the backyard while his dad was at the office at a meeting with my dad. So it goes way back, man. But he came up with that expression. I think because a lot of people didn't. You wouldn't believe how many people will actually sometimes even argue with us and say, "You don't make it here. Come on." It's like, no, we do. Honest. Come to the plant. We'll take you for a tour.
We honestly do. I need to go to the plant next time that I visit Toronto. I'd definitely be interested to drop by and really see how that plant works. I've never seen a plant myself, but I've seen warehouses only for plants at least.
It's like being a live edition of how it's made.
Yeah, that is pretty sick. So we're kind of running out of time, so we're gonna do about a couple questions from the viewers here, or maybe 2 to 3. So the first question that we had from Plumber Saul was, do you guys sell these valves in the States? Which you did say you do,
Yep.
but if he were to find them, where would he go to find them?
Most of the big wholesalers do have them now. You can go on our website to find out who an agent is in your territory. We don't necessarily have agents in all the territories, but when you look at like the Fergusons and the Wind Supplies and Hajoka, FW Webb, Somerville, Northeastern Supply, Keller, I don't know, Finland sold around, Hirsch. I mean, I'm probably leaving people out, and I don't want to get in trouble for that, but I don't, it's a fairly solid. And if you're not certain, you just send an email up to customer service at dahlvalve.com. And that's on our website as well. And if you email our office and just give them your zip code, then we can put you in touch with. We can either give you info, or we'll put you in touch with our local agent who can narrow it down and knows the territory better.
That's great to know. And we got one last question here from DaCosta Plumbing. DaCosta is a really great friend of mine, and we work out here in BC. Actually, it's a really interesting question because I want to ask it myself. Do you guys make any isolation kits for boilers, or are you guys thinking of even going into the boiler sector in the future to kind of make those products for our boiler installs?
We don't. We've loosely talked about getting a little bit more into hydronics because we were a lot more into hydronics in the late 60s and the early 70s. But there's nothing on the horizon yet. But you can bet that I'm going to write this down.
That's good to know because I would definitely like to use some Dahl valves for my isolation kits.
Awesome, man. Well, that's
great. Well, that's all the time we got today for the show. We'll keep recording we'll keep doing the stream afterwards, but we're just gonna end this show early just so that I could compile everything together afterwards for Coffee with Impetus, just because I want to keep the sections low. But thank you guys for joining again with Coffee with Impetus. Again, thank you, Thomas, today for coming in, talking about Dahl valves. It was really great having you and have you talk about your products. Anything else you want to say to the viewers before this ends, just for the recording?
Well, I'd just say thank you all very much, all of you about our products, and I think in particular what I'm finding on Instagram and the sense I'm getting from those of you in the sort of core, you all are very, very honorable people. There's a little high degree of integrity that I'm seeing, and pride in workmanship. And so kudos to you for that. Thank you for being the good guys.
Thank you so much. And for those of you who didn't know, Thomas did put up a little set package for the giveaway today. So for everybody on this post that have been writing the comments, that have been talking about it, we will choose a guy from the comments and we'll send you out the pen and pad, a t-shirt from Dahl, and a bucket organizer from Dahl Valves. So thanks a lot for coming in today, guys. Really appreciate it. And one more thing just for us, for Coffee Impetus and Impetus itself, we are doing a new shop now for all our t-shirts and every other swag that you can think of. So if you have time, click on the link that we will be sharing soon. And for that, that's about it. Thanks a lot again, Thomas. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.